YouTube, what's going on? This is the Hooded Hero. Welcome to my channel. Uh, First video on this channel, so I figured I'd do a little intro about myself and my history with comics and heroes and things of the sort. Um, Born in Connecticut, raised in Massachusetts. Now I reside in San Diego, California. Um, been into comics ever since I was really young. The earliest memory I have of comics and superheroes is playing the old X-Men game and Spider-Man games on the SNES. Those were absolutely awesome. Um, at that around that same time, an old friend of my mom's used to have stacks and stacks of comics from when he was younger, from the mid '70s to early '80s and such. And so those were my first memories. Um, Reading them. I've always been into Iron Man. I could never, ever, ever come up with an explanation or elaboration on why it is I love Iron Man. It's just it just is. I just do. Um, and yeah, like I said, I could never tell you exactly why. But when I really started getting into heroes as opposed to comics was in high school. When I found out that Iron Man was getting his own movie, of course things just exploded. But it was around that time where I just really started getting into just loving the artwork. I mean, I took every single art class there was in high school, and I kind of wanted to do, my own superhero thing, which I did actually create one, and that's the name of my YouTube channel. His name is as bland as can be, the Hooded Hero. Um, More on that later on in the video. Um, yeah, so I just started collecting comics. More when I got into college, I realized I played football and I wanted another hobby, while I was in school, and so I started collecting comics again. It wasn't very consistent, but I got what I could. I remember the very first actual free comic book day I went to was when I was in high school, or I'm sorry, in college. And I picked up, I don't know, there was like a Sonic comic and something else Marvel put out, and I don't know, some other things, but it just, I was real excited about it. Um, the very first comic I picked up to start actually collecting again was Invincible Iron Man 25, and I wish I had it with me here to show you, but it was the cover. Uh, it was Iron Man, and it was a black cover, and Iron Man um, was really shadowed. It was actually the debut. It was the debut of the Bleeding Edge armor, and actually ever since then, that's been my favorite armor of his in the comics. Um, yeah, it was the debut of the Bleeding Edge. Anyway, fast forward a little bit. One summer, my friend and my partner in this blog, I will again talk about later, um, Kendall Jr. Um, every summer he goes to a convention. I'm forgetting what it's called. I probably should have looked it up, but this convention in North Carolina. His uncle lives down there, and so I asked him. I said, "Dude, can you bring me back a souvenir, something, anything?" He said, "Yeah, I'll see what I can do." Fast forward a couple weeks, maybe the end of the summer, right before uh, spring training, or I'm sorry, camp started with football for me. I go back to his house. He says, "Hey, come over. I got something for you." So I'm real excited. Had no idea what he had, but met him at his house. He turns over a comic, and it's Iron Man, Invincible Iron Man, Bleeding Edge still, number, oof, I wish I had that here too. I think my mom's holding a lot of the comics. She lives in Florida. So anyway, it was an issue of Invincible Iron Man, the same story where with the bleeding edge in it, and signed by Matt Fraction. And I just, maybe I'm exaggerating, but I remember in my head just yelling at the top of my lungs like, "No way!" Everyone knows, Matt Fraction was he had one of the best runs on Iron Man, which honestly I've still yet to read, but I'll get there. I definitely do not claim to know everything there is about comics, everything there is about Iron Man. I definitely don't claim to know all of its history, so I encourage you guys as my viewers, as you watch my channel and you watch my videos, if I'm wrong about something, correct me about it. If you know something I could have included, if you have any suggestions, definitely, blurt them out in the comments. Um, it's definitely appreciated. But yeah, I just remember getting that comic and just being so happy about it. Um, so fast forward a bit more, and I start collecting comics again. I have a whole stack right here that I'm waiting to talk about in other in other videos. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. Um, by the way, you will always see me in a different setting, usually in a different setting, as the kind of work I do. I'm in automotive marketing. I'm on the road a lot, so you will see a lot of hotel rooms behind me. This is actually my room right now, but yeah, so let's get started. Um, I wanted to make my first upload first as an intro about myself and a little bit of my background in comics and whatnot. And I wanted to make it a somewhat of a haul video um, from Free Comic Book Day, which was yesterday, May 8th, May 7th. I'm sorry, May 7th. So here in San Diego, there are two well-known comic book stores, which I absolutely love. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, I believe. Villainous Lair, love that place. Shout out to the owner and manager Chris, head manager Chris. He's awesome. And Southern California Comics, real cool spots. I went to both yesterday. Couldn't stay long at Southern California Comics. I made that my second stop. Really long line there. I mean, they were doing a lot. They had a podcast there yesterday. I'm forgetting what it was called, but it looked like fun. I just went and took a couple photos with a couple cosplayers and went on my way. But I pulled four comics from Free Comic Book Day at Villainous Lair. And so I'll show you the first. It's called Worlds of Aspen. All right, let me see. Yeah, that artwork there is pretty nice. I mean, anything with dragons, like, it's pretty cool, right? So, Worlds of Aspen is by Aspen Comics. I did a little bit of research on them. They're actually right here in California, 2 hours north in LA, Culver City slash, I believe it said Santa Monica. They have an office in. Um, but yeah, it looks a little bit. I haven't opened it yet. Opening it right now. A lot of colors, a lot of action. Um, it seems almost like a post-apocalyptic medieval fantastical comic. Um, Looking forward to reading that. See what it's all about, I guess, in all of its glory. Then I picked up an old hero or an old figure that was part of Marvel for a little while, but I guess was really a licensed character now with IDW, Rom. And if you've all seen Guardians of the Galaxy, which I'm sure you did, um, and followed James Gunn, I'm sure you all know that James Gunn is a huge fan of Rom Space Knight. And if he could have, and he's said over and over again, if he could have any character in his Guardians of the Galaxy movie and part of the Guardians, it'd be Rom, which I think would be pretty cool. I honestly myself don't know too much about Rom. I don't remember reading a lot about him when I was younger in those older comics, but he does look really cool. I mean, I don't want to do him a disservice by saying he almost looks like a mini Transformer. Don't shoot me, but he looks cool. Just say that. And I'm sure a lot of you viewers who are a little bit older know a lot about him and know that he's pretty awesome. Uh, so those are two that I haven't yet read. And that's one thing I really like reading my comics. So to some of you collectors, sorry, but I really like reading my comics and just seeing what the story might be about. So next is not just one title. There are two books. I mean, it's a preview book really, but there are two previews in here. But from a company that shout out to Chris again from Villainous Lair here in San Diego. Chris, I went in to Villainous Lair and I asked Chris, Valiant has been coming up a lot, just around me and things I've watched and read. I said, Chris, Valiant has come up for me a lot, and I asked him. I said, "What titles do you suggest I pick up?" He just looked at me and said, "All of them." Literally, like if I could put my voice in all caps, he said, "Just all of them. Read them all. They're all good. They're all worth it, guaranteed." And so when I saw this, I was like, absolutely. I'm just gonna pick it up. So this is a couple previews from Valiant, and you can see the guy on the cover. If any of you read Valiant, that is this man is known as Rai, R-A-I, and I still have to read a little bit about him. Um, but I know that he was created by this person in his comic named the Father, and I guess he was connected to this his city called New Japan. He was the guardian of it. But like you can see, I'll show you again. Right here, 4000 AD is an event they have going on this summer, which there's kind of a prelude to in here. This is almost like an issue zero, and I'm telling you, it looks amazing. I have to pick up the 4001 AD titles. And it actually in here, I'll turn to the page. There's a page where you know how DC and Marvel, some of their bigger events, they have almost every single title tied in. This one not so much. There's three titles. There's three titles connected every month from starting this month May to August. There are three titles that are connected, and four of them, one in each month from here to August, is a different character. But I think Rai is a big part of it. So right here you can see the layout. It says 4001 AD, and if you can read down here, it's 4001 AD number 1, 2, 3, 4 across the top from month to month, and then on the bottom of August. And then you see, like I said, four different characters for each month. So you got Exo Man of War, Bloodshot for June, Shadow Man for July, and there's a classified title for August, and then Rai 13 through 16 for the connection. And this guy just looks awesome. See, he looks different here. He has kind of a one red arm. His original character right there had the rising sun of Japan on his chest. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to those. I actually have a couple Valiant titles that I ordered that I'll talk about later on, either when I've read them or just kind of look through them. Ninjak Volume One and Doctor Mirage Volume One. So looking forward to reading those. And then this last one, which was I think this definitely impressed me the most. I had no idea it would, and it was the first one that I read of this bunch. It's a book called Avatar X. Okay, published by Graphic India, which is a company in India, and I guess they partnered with Grant Morrison, who a lot of you know mostly from DC titles. He has written a bunch of Marvel titles, but mostly DC titles. So one reason I picked this up is I love space, okay, and I love that the cover has these two uh, um, kind of dividing space line here, and these two aspects of space. You know, more like this is as if this is a solar flare coming off, and then just deep space on the other side, and then this man in the middle dividing it. So as you see his name, Avatar X, um, Destroyer of Darkness. So this book looks absolutely awesome. Okay, colors everywhere. One, it's set in India, which is really cool to me. You know, to read something else outside of the United States. Um, it's like I said with Rom. I don't want to do it a disservice by saying it kind of gave me the feel of a 300 meets I don't know. I want to say 300 just because of oh, there's a second book in here. That's what reminded me of the 300 more. But it's Grant Morrison's 18 Days. Okay, so as you can see, there's a main character right in the middle, and a couple generals. There's a page where he right here. So there's a page right here. Like, how awesome does that look? You know. So I guess it was more 18 Days that was about the colors. That's where most of my excitement lied. But yeah, so Avatar X. Let's go back to him. Avatar X is um, an avatar, I guess. Uh, and it begins as there's this satellite slash spaceship called the Shabala, and I guess it's sentient. I believe it's sentient, and it's talking to it's holding, let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10 tubes. Yeah, I think yeah, it's 10 tubes with different avatars in them, and what it seems like is that they're all released at a certain point, and the Avatar X was the last one because of this darkness that's looming over the earth, and um, he's just coming out. He came out again to protect it. He came out of what's called the White Horse tube. So I guess every character has a different animal or a different symbol to it, and you can see some of them right here. His was right at the bottom near the White Horse. Um, but yeah, I don't know. There's something about this that really pulls me in. You know what I mean? Kind of Thor-esque meets, I don't know. It just looks cool. It just looks cool. So anyway, he's by the end of it, the sentient ship says that he's too proud, and it seems like it's about to strip him of his powers. So somewhat like a Thor, you know. But anyway, those are my pulls from Free Comic Book Day. Um, that was a little bit about me. So what I mentioned earlier was a blog um, that has yet to been that has yet to start, um, and it's going to be by me and my good friend Kendall Jr., who I mentioned earlier in the video. Um, it's about anything that has to do with comics. There's going to be reviews. There's going to be, lists, top 10 lists, top 10 this, top 10 that, top stories, whatever. And one idea I had was to have guest writers and such things of the sort uh, write for us. Um, so I invite all of you, my subscribers, my commenters. When we get started, I'll definitely put links in the description and such for those articles and for that blog. But yeah, I can't wait to get that started. It's it's a passion project, and yeah. Another thing, the Hooded Hero. Yeah, I created him in high school, and he always wears a gray sweater. Always wears a gray sweater. So Kendall right now is actually working on some of the artwork uh, for that blog, including the our logo and banner, and then he's drawing out our characters. So what he's going to be doing with the blog, along with writing articles on his own time, is he's going to write or at least draw out our story. He created a character as well called the Black Mask, and like I said, we're both very generic names, but they still feel right with us, Um, to give those characters any other name would, I don't know, wouldn't feel good and wouldn't feel right um, to their creation. But anyway, um, I'll save the story of those characters for another day, another video. Perhaps you may just read them on the blog. But yeah, the Hooded Hero, like I said, was created in high school. Um, always been in the back of my mind, and Kendall and I always just joke about him back and forth. Uh, anyway, that blog coming soon. Soon. Hoods and masks. So watch out for that. Couple shout outs real quick. Big, huge shout out to my good friend, one of my great friends, uh, Boston Chris Lark, aka Buckshot 33. Please go subscribe to his channel. He's the one who inspired me big time to do this. Um, I I honestly don't know what I'm doing right now except for talking about comics. I'm pretty sure I blabbed a little bit, but huge shout out to Boston Chris, aka Buckshot 33. His channel is Buckshot 33. Go subscribe to him. Love the guy to death, man. Look forward to a lot more of your videos, bro. Um, I want to give another shout out to Rob Jefferson, aka Comics Explained. Guy, love your channel, man. Go subscribe to him. If there's any way you could not, or if there for any reason there wasn't a way you could convey your feelings and thoughts about different comics and movies in the cinematic universe, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe at least, um, or any movie. I mean, this guy puts every major point out there without spoiling a movie. Like, he is so good at explaining things. It's unreal. I mean, that's why it's Comics Explained, right? Anyway, that's the end of my video for now. Hopefully you guys subscribe. Maybe Please let me know in the comments if there are things you liked, things you didn't like. Um, yeah, things you suggest I do. Uh, give you a shout out. I don't mind at all. You know, I'll go to a bunch of your channels and subscribe. I mean, this community, at least from the videos I've seen of Buckshot 33 and a couple of the channels he um subscribed to, this community is just amazing. You know, everyone supports one another. So I love that. And yeah, Hooded Hero out. I'll see you guys next time.